Rain poured over the small town of Havenfield as Michael Reed waited at the old train station. The air smelled of dust and wet iron. The clock struck 11:45 p.m. and the platform was empty, except for him. His hands were shaking, not because of the cold, but because tonight, something impossible was about to happen. For months, he had been waiting for her, the woman he ordered from another world. Michael was not a bad man, only a lonely one. Earth had changed. After the great energy collapse, people struggled to survive. The cities were broken, jobs were gone, and many men lived alone. Then came the Interworld Exchange Program, a strange project that allowed humans to connect with beings from other planets, companions, workers, sometimes even brides. Michael never thought he'd join. But when he saw her profile, Elira from planet Vinar with silver eyes and soft blue skin, something inside him changed. Her words were kind, her voice calm. She wrote that she wanted to understand human love. He sent the request, and after months of silence, the company finally approved. Tonight she was arriving. The wind howled as a train's light appeared in the distance. The metallic screech echoed through the night as the doors opened. No one stepped out at first. Then, slowly, a figure moved through the mist. She was taller than Michael expected, wearing a dark coat that covered most of her body. When she lifted her face, he saw faint bruises on her cheeks, like she had been hurt on her journey. "Elira," he whispered. She nodded, her silver eyes reflecting the dim light. "Michael Reed?" Her voice was soft, almost musical, but there was pain in it. He rushed forward, helping her with her small silver case. "Are you okay? What happened to you?" Elira looked around nervously before speaking. "We should not talk here. They might be listening." Michael froze. "Who?" She didn't answer. Instead, she touched his arm gently and said, "Please take me home." At his cabin outside town, the night felt even heavier. The power was weak and the lights flickered. Elira sat near the fireplace, her eyes fixed on the flames. The glow made her blue skin shimmer faintly, like water under the moon. Michael brought her tea, unsure if aliens even drank tea. She held the cup carefully, like she was studying it. "Warmth," she said softly. "It feels alive." Michael smiled awkwardly. "It helps with the cold. You must be tired. The trip from your world must have been long." Her eyes darkened. "Yes, very long. And not safe." "What do you mean?" Elira hesitated. Then she looked straight into his eyes. "Michael, the company that sent me here, it is not what you think. I did not come only to be your bride." The fire crackled loudly. Outside, thunder rolled. He stared at her, confused. "Then why are you here?" She stood up slowly, her shadow stretching across the wooden floor. "Because they are coming for you." Michael laughed nervously. "What? Who's coming for me?" "I'm just a factory worker," she interrupted. "You were chosen. You sent the request, yes, but they chose you long before that." His heart raced. "Why would they choose me?" Elira's expression softened with sadness. "Because of what is inside you. You have something they want, something that does not belong to Earth anymore." The lights flickered again and the radio on the table turned on by itself. A strange static voice whispered through the speaker. "Subject 47 confirmed." "Tracking active." Elira's eyes widened. "They found us." Michael jumped from his chair. "Who found us? What's happening?" She grabbed his wrist and pulled him toward the back door. "No time, we must run." Outside, a black vehicle appeared on the road, moving fast, too fast for any human car. Blue lights flashed underneath its surface. Michael's mind raced. This wasn't possible. This was supposed to be a simple arrangement. A mail-order bride from another planet, not a death sentence. Elira turned to him, her silver eyes glowing now. "If they catch me, they will kill you too." "I cannot let that happen." Then, to his shock, she raised her hand and a bright blue shield of energy surrounded them. The vehicle's lights hit the barrier and exploded into sparks. Michael fell to the ground, staring in disbelief. "What are you?" Elira's face was calm but fierce. "I am your bride," she said. "But I am also your only chance to live." The storm raged around them as they ran into the dark forest. Behind them, the wrecked car burned, and the radio still whispered through the flames. Subject escaped. Engage protocol. War Phase 1 activated. Michael didn't understand any of it. But deep down, he knew. His life had changed forever, and Elira's bruises were not the only secrets she carried. The forest was dark and alive with sound, wind whispering through the trees, rain falling like glass on the leaves. Michael and Alira ran until their legs burned and their breath turned to smoke in the cold air. Behind them, the black vehicle was gone, but the echo of that strange mechanical voice still haunted Michael's mind. Subject 47 confirmed. War Phase 1, activated. They finally stopped near an old cabin that looked half abandoned. Its wooden walls were broken, the windows covered in dust. Alira looked around carefully before stepping inside. "This will do for now," she said quietly. Michael leaned against the wall, chest heaving. "You need to start talking. Who are they? And why are they calling me subject?" Alira looked at him, her expression both sad and strong. "Michael, everything you think you know about yourself, it's not the whole truth." He frowned. "What are you talking about? I'm just a man. I fix machines. I pay my bills barely. I'm no one special." Alira's silver eyes glowed faintly. "No one special doesn't get tracked across galaxies." She knelt on the dusty floor and opened her silver case. Inside were strange objects, small glass discs glowing with light, a silver cube humming softly, and a thin metallic tablet. When she touched it, it came alive, floating in midair. A projection appeared, a symbol Michael had never seen before. It looked like a circle with 3 lines cutting through it. "This," Alira said, "is the mark of the consortium, the organization that runs the Interworld Exchange. The company that sent you here?" She nodded. "Yes, but it's not just a matchmaking service. It's an experiment." Michael felt a chill. "An experiment for what?" "To study the old DNA," she whispered. "To find what was lost after the great energy collapse. You humans think you survived it alone, but you didn't. The consortium helped rebuild Earth systems, but in return they took something from your species." Michael stepped back. "You're saying they changed us?" Alira nodded slowly. "Yes, they erased a part of humanity's original code. But not all. A few people, very few, still carry it. That's why they chose you. You are one of the last carriers." He shook his head in disbelief. "That's insane." "I'm just a mechanic." Alira's gaze softened. "Your blood, Michael. It holds what they want, the seed of the origin code, the power to create life without machines. They lost it long ago and now they want it back." The words hit him like thunder. He didn't even understand half of it, but his instinct screamed that she was telling the truth. The tablet flickered suddenly. A message appeared across its surface in red letters. "Signal detected. Location compromised." Alira cursed under her breath in a strange alien language and quickly shut the device off. Michael's fear turned to anger. "You brought them here, didn't you? You're the reason they're chasing us." She looked hurt. "No. I was trying to protect you. I escaped from them. They didn't want me to come to you, but I did anyway." "Why?" She hesitated. "Because I saw your name in the archives. You were listed as Target 47. I didn't know who you were, but something inside me told me you needed help." The wind outside grew louder. The cabin door shook as if someone or something was out there. Michael grabbed a broken pipe from the floor. If this is another one of their machines. But before he could finish, the door burst open. A bright white light filled the cabin. 3 floating drones entered, humming and glowing. Their eyes, if they could be called that, flashed red. "Target located," said a cold, robotic voice. Alira pushed Michael behind her. "Stay back." She lifted her hand, and a wave of blue energy exploded from her palm, smashing one drone into the wall. The other 2 dodged, firing thin beams of red light. The walls burned wherever they hit. Michael ducked, heart pounding. He had never seen anything like this. Alira fought like lightning, her movements fast and graceful. She spun, jumped, and blasted another drone apart. But one beam hit her shoulder and she screamed. Michael ran to her, pulling her down behind a table. "You're hurt." "It's nothing," she said, blood, silver blood, dripping down her arm. "But we can't stay. They'll send more." She pulled something small from her case, a metallic chip. "This holds the file about you. The truth. Keep it safe." Michael took it with trembling hands. "What's in it?" "Everything," she whispered. "Who you are and why they fear you." The last drone aimed at them. Alira turned and fired another blue blast, destroying it in a flash. Then she fell to her knees, breathing hard. Michael caught her before she hit the ground. "Alira, stay with me." Her voice was weak. "They won't stop, Michael. They'll burn Earth to get what's inside you. You must run, find the old vault." "What vault?" She looked up at him, eyes fading. the place where the first code sleeps. The night grew quiet again. The drones were gone, smoke filling the air. Michael held Elira close, confused and scared, but inside something was changing. He looked at the chip glowing in his palm. It pulsed with a heartbeat, his heartbeat. And for the first time, Michael felt a strange power awaken inside him. The hunt had just begun. The rain had stopped by morning, but the forest was still soaked in silence. Smoke from the destroyed drones rose between the trees, and the sky was painted gray. Michael sat beside Elira, who was lying weak against the cabin wall. Her shoulder wound shimmered with silver light that refused to close. She looked at him and whispered, "They will come again soon." Michael clenched his fists. "Not until I know the truth. What is this vault you talked about?" Elira's eyes blinked slowly, her voice trembling. "The Vault of Origins. It was built long ago, before the collapse, hidden deep beneath the earth. It holds the first genetic code, the blueprint of life itself. That's where your answers are." Michael looked down at the chip glowing faintly in his hand. "And this? What does this do?" "It's the key," she said weakly. "Only your blood can activate it." Michael didn't fully understand, but he knew they couldn't stay. He packed a small bag, wrapped Elira's arm, and helped her stand. The road ahead was uncertain, but he could feel something pulling him, like a voice deep inside calling his name. Hours later, they reached an old highway. Rusted cars lay abandoned on the sides. The world felt empty, forgotten. They walked until sunset, when they found a gas station half covered by vines. A broken sign read, "Rest Stop, 2 miles to Orion City." Inside, Michael found a map covered in dust. He spread it on the counter. "Where is this vault?" Elira pointed to a mark near the mountains beyond Orion City. "There, beneath the ruins of the old Biocore facility," Michael frowned. "That place was shut down years ago after the energy meltdown." Elira nodded. "That's exactly why they hid it there. The consortium never fully abandoned it. It's one of their main research zones." Her voice dropped lower. "If they reach it before us, they will use the code to create soldiers. Half human, half machine. A new race designed only for war." Michael's heart pounded. "And they'll use my DNA to do it." Elira looked into his eyes. "Yes, that's why you must get there first." They rested for a while. Michael sat quietly, thinking of his old life. His small home, his dull job, the nights spent alone, staring at the stars. Now those same stars were chasing him. He turned to Elira. "Why did you really come for me? You could have stayed safe on your planet." She smiled faintly. "I used to watch Earth from orbit. I saw your world broken yet still beautiful. I saw humans trying to rebuild, still hoping. And then I read about you, a simple man who kept repairing broken machines even when the world stopped paying him. That kind of hope is rare, Michael. I wanted to meet the human who still fixed things others threw away." Michael didn't know what to say. Her words touched him deeply. But before he could speak, the sound of engines echoed in the distance. Elira's face turned cold. "They found us again?" Michael peeked through the window. Several dark drones hovered over the road, scanning. A blue light flashed across the gas station. "They're searching for your energy signature," she said. Michael looked at the glowing chip and made a decision. "Then I'll give them something else to follow." He grabbed a metal rod, jammed the chip into the station's power console, and poured fuel from an old can onto the ground. "Michael, what are you doing?" Elira shouted. He smiled faintly. "You said I fix things, but sometimes you have to break one to save another." He pressed the switch. Electricity surged. The lights exploded in sparks, and the drones immediately turned toward the blast. Michael pulled Elira out through the back door as the entire gas station went up in flames. They ran again into the night. Behind them, the fire burned like a beacon, confusing the drones. Michael's lungs ached, but they kept going until they reached the edge of a wide canyon. Across the dark valley, he could see faint lights. Orion City. Elira looked weak but determined. "If we make it there, we can hide in the tunnels. The vault is not far." Michael helped her down the slope, step by step. The wind howled around them like a living thing. Halfway down, he stopped. The chip in his pocket began to vibrate again. When he pulled it out, it projected a hologram, a voice message. It wasn't Elira's, it was human. "Michael Reed, if you are hearing this, you were not supposed to survive. You are part of the origin batch, humans born with pure DNA from before the collapse. Your body carries the code they lost. Do not trust anyone, not even her. The message ended with a symbol, the same one Elira had shown him, a circle with 3 lines. Michael turned toward her. What is this? Why does it say not to trust you? Elira's face froze. For a moment she said nothing. Then softly, because they made me, to protect you. And to destroy you if ordered. Michael stepped back, heart racing. You're one of them? She looked down. I was. But I chose you instead. The air grew colder. The sound of thunder rolled again, though the sky was clear. Michael didn't know if he could trust her anymore. But he knew one thing. If what she said was true, then he wasn't just running from the consortium. He was running from the truth about himself. That night, as they camped on the edge of the canyon, Michael couldn't sleep. The chip pulsed softly beside him, whispering something he could barely hear. His name, over and over again, and far away, deep under the mountains. Something ancient began to awaken. The night was cold, but Michael's mind burned with questions. The message still echoed in his ears. Do not trust her. He sat near the dying campfire, staring at Elira as she slept. Her face looked peaceful, almost human, yet the silver veins on her neck glowed faintly in the dark. She looked like light trapped inside flesh, beautiful and dangerous. The small chip in his hand pulsed again, matching his heartbeat. Every time it did, he felt a strange warmth rise through his veins, like electricity made of life. He whispered to himself, Who am I really? By dawn, they started walking again. Orion City looked like a graveyard of metal and glass. Once it had been a center of technology. Now it was ruins and silence. Broken screens blinked faint messages, and the wind whistled through hollow skyscrapers. Elira walked beside him, her steps weak but steady. She had wrapped her shoulder in fabric torn from her coat. We're close, she said softly. The vault lies beneath this city. We must reach the underground lines. Michael nodded, still distant. And when we find it? What then? She looked ahead. Then you decide and to destroy the code or use it. Her answer only made his chest tighter. Destroy or use. He didn't even know what it really was. They reached an old subway entrance covered in debris. Michael pushed away a fallen metal door. Inside, the air was cold and smelled of rust. Faint lights flickered deep in the tunnel. Not electricity, but something else. Elira stopped. Those lights, they're not from this world. Michael followed her down carefully. The tunnel sloped deeper until they reached a massive steel gate covered in strange carvings. Circles, lines, and symbols glowing with blue light. This is it, she said. The Vault of Origins. Michael touched the cold metal. It vibrated under his fingers. The chip in his pocket glowed brighter as if calling to it. Without thinking, he pressed the chip into a small slot on the gate. A soft hum filled the air. Then the gate began to move. Dust fell from the ceiling as the doors opened slowly, revealing a vast chamber filled with floating glass tubes and ancient machines. Each tube contained something. Shapes of humans half-formed and sleeping. Michael stepped forward in awe. What is this place? Elira's voice trembled. The first human prototypes. The ones they made before the collapse. They tried to rebuild life, but it failed. You are what came after, the last real human. He stared at her. That's impossible. She walked up to one of the tubes. Inside floated a pale body with silver lines under its skin, just like hers. They created me too, Michael. I'm not from a planet far away. I'm from here and from this vault. Michael's mind spun. So you lied. You said you came from Vinar. I had to, she said quietly. If I told you the truth, you wouldn't have trusted me. They built me to serve them, but I broke free. I wanted to protect what was left of humanity. You. Michael stepped back, heart pounding. And how do I know that's not another lie? Elira looked down. You don't. Suddenly the lights in the chamber turned red. A loud alarm echoed through the walls. The gate behind them sealed shut. A robotic voice filled the air. Vault access detected. Origin subject 47 located. Termination in progress. Michael spun around. Metal arms dropped from the ceiling and drones crawled out from the shadows. Elira shouted, Run to the center. The core chamber can protect you. Michael ran across the floor as laser beams shot past him. He grabbed a fallen pipe and swung it at a drone, smashing its sensor. Elira followed, firing blue energy blasts from her hands, the power lighting up the dark like lightning. They reached a glass dome in the center of the vault. Inside was a large crystal glowing gold, alive, pulsing like a giant heart. The origin core, Elira said, breathless. It holds the seed. If you touch it, your true power will awaken. Michael looked at the chaos behind him. Drones firing, walls cracking, alarms screaming. He didn't think. He just reached out. The moment his hand touched the crystal, everything stopped. Time froze. The light from the core spread through his body, flowing through every vein. His skin glowed faintly gold and his eyes filled with light. He saw flashes, memories not his own. Cities of light, oceans of stars. Humans being born not from flesh but from code. Then a voice echoed inside his mind. Deep, ancient, and powerful. You are the key. The last flame of creation. Rise and remember. When the light faded, Michael fell to his knees. The drones were gone, then melted into black ash. The crystal dimmed as if giving all its power to him. Elira stared in awe. Michael, your body, he looked at his hands. They shimmered faintly with golden circuits under the skin. He wasn't just human anymore. What have I become? He whispered. Elira stepped closer. Not what. Who? You've become what they feared most. A human who remembers how to create life. Outside, thunder roared again. Not from the sky, but from deep within the earth. The vault was waking up, and Michael Reed had just become the beginning of something new. The ground shook beneath the vault. Machines screamed awake, their lights flashing red through the darkness. Michael stood in the center of the chamber, still glowing faintly gold. The air around him pulsed with invisible energy. Every step he took made the metal floor hum, as if the world itself was listening. Elira watched him in awe. The core has bonded with you, she said softly. You are now linked to every machine that was ever built from its design. Michael looked at his hands, still trembling. I can feel them. The drones, the systems, even the satellites. It's like they're whispering to me. Elira nodded. You can command them now. But be careful. If the consortium detects that signal, they'll come with everything they have. He looked up at her, his face calm but cold. Then let them come. The vault's walls began to close as alarms screamed louder. Michael reached out with one hand and the metal stopped moving. It froze mid-air, bending to his will. His eyes glowed bright gold. For the first time, he understood what the origin code meant. It wasn't just power, it was connection. He turned to Elira. I saw something when I touched the core. People, humans, before the collapse. They built machines to survive, but the machines turned on them. The consortium was born from that war. Elira nodded. They erased those memories from the world. But now they will do anything to stop you from bringing them back. Michael clenched his fists. Then I'll give humanity its truth. A sudden boom shook the vault. Dust rained from the ceiling. The ground split open as a massive metal craft descended through the broken roof, black, angular, and glowing red from its engines. A mechanical voice echoed. Subject 47 identified. Surrender or face elimination. Elira's face turned pale. That's the Warden, one of the consortium's command units. The craft opened, revealing a towering machine, humanoid in shape, 10 feet tall, armored in dark steel. Its eyes blazed crimson. The origin code belongs to the consortium, it declared. Michael stood tall. Then they'll have to take it. The Warden raised its arm and a storm of drones poured into the chamber. Beams of red light shot everywhere. Elira fired blue energy from her palms, taking out 3 at once. Michael moved forward unarmed, but the machines stopped firing. They hovered mid-air. Their sensors flickering, Michael whispered, Stop, and they did. Every drone froze in place, locked in his control. The golden light spread from his body to theirs, changing their red eyes to bright gold. The Warden stepped back. Impossible. The code cannot override Master Command. Michael's voice deepened, almost inhuman. It can now. He raised his hand and the drones turned on their master. Beams of light tore through the Warden's armor, shaking the vault. The machine roared in fury and charged at Michael. The impact threw him across the room. Sparks burned his arm, but he stood again, eyes blazing. Elira tried to shield him, but the Warden grabbed her by the throat, lifting her off the ground. Michael shouted, Let her go! The Warden laughed, a deep metallic sound. You care for the machine that was made to destroy you? Michael's anger exploded. The golden circuits across his skin flared bright. He felt the entire vault respond, the floors, the walls, the ancient systems waking from centuries of sleep. Maybe, he said, but I am not just human anymore. The energy burst out of him in a golden wave. The warden's armor cracked, its core melting from within. The explosion shook the entire vault, throwing debris and light in every direction. When the dust settled, the warden was gone. Only ashes remained, glowing faintly red. Alira lay on the ground, barely conscious. Michael ran to her, holding her hand. "You saved me again," she whispered weakly. He smiled faintly. "You said I fix things." "I just fixed this mess." But Alira's face grew serious. "You don't understand. Destroying the warden sends a signal. The consortium now knows exactly where you are. They will come in full force." Michael looked at the ceiling where daylight was breaking through. Then it's time the world sees what's been hidden. He turned toward the vault's control terminal. It flickered to life, waiting for his command. "I can send a signal. Broadcast the truth to every system on Earth." Alira's voice trembled. "If you do that, you'll expose yourself. They'll never stop." Michael stared at the glowing console. Maybe it's time they stop hiding. He placed his hand on the panel. The golden light spread again, racing through the wires and screens. Images flashed across the globe. Truths of the old world, the human experiments, the origin of the consortium. Every screen, every device, every satellite began to play the same message. Humanity was never broken. It was rewritten. Alira stood beside him, watching the light spread. "You've started something that can't be undone." Michael looked at her with calm eyes. "Good. Then maybe the next generation will finish it." Suddenly, thunder rolled outside, not weather, but engines. In the sky, hundreds of black ships appeared, forming a ring around Orion City. Alira whispered, "They're here." Michael's golden eyes reflected the ships above. "Then let's give them a welcome." The sky above Orion City turned red. Hundreds of black ships formed a circle, their engines roaring like thunder gods. From the ground, the clouds looked like they were burning. Michael stood on top of the ruined vault, wind tearing at his coat, golden light flickering beneath his skin. Alira joined him, her silver eyes reflecting the chaos. "They're here," she whispered. Michael didn't blink. "Then it ends tonight." The first attack began without warning. Energy beams shot down from the ships, turning buildings into dust. The ground shook as the old city started collapsing. In the distance, Michael could hear screams. What few people still lived here were running, hiding, praying. Alira raised her hand, creating a blue energy shield around them. "Their army will land soon. You must escape." Michael shook his head. "I'm done running. I started this. I'll finish it." He stretched his hands outward, and the golden light in his veins burned brighter. Across the city, broken machines came alive. Old defense drones, fallen satellites, even cars and streetlights began to move. The city itself responded to his call. Alira's eyes widened. "You're controlling them all." Michael's voice was calm but fierce. "The origin code connects everything. Flesh, machine, sky, earth. It's not meant for war, but maybe that's the only way to end it." Moments later, the enemy ships opened their bays. Thousands of metallic soldiers dropped from the sky. Machines with red eyes and human shapes carrying plasma rifles. Michael stepped forward. "Let them come." The golden machines under his control rose to meet them. The war began with a flash so bright it turned night into day. Beams of red and gold tore through the air. The ground cracked under the impact. Michael's drones fought the invaders like a storm of light and fire. Sparks filled the sky. Alira fought beside him, her energy blast slicing through enemy ranks. "We can't hold forever," she shouted. Michael closed his eyes and reached deeper into the code. He could hear the voices of the machines, each one waiting for command. He sent a pulse through the network, linking them all. "Protect the human race," he whispered. The machines answered with a single unified hum, a chorus of energy. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocked the battlefield. From the lead ship above, a giant figure descended, twice the size of the warden, its armor black as the void. Alira gasped. "That's the Prime Executor, the leader of the consortium army." The machine landed, crushing the ground beneath its feet. Its voice was deep, cold, and mechanical. "You are not human. You are a corruption of the code." Michael glared at it. "Maybe, but I still bleed." The executor raised its arm and fired a blast that ripped through the earth. Michael blocked it with a wall of golden energy, but the force threw him back, his skin burning. Alira ran to him. "You can't fight that thing alone." He stood, breathing hard. Then help me. Together they attacked. Hilara's blue power and Michael's gold light merged, forming a swirling sphere of pure energy. They struck the executor's chest, cracking its armor. But the machine grabbed Illyra before she could move away, slamming her to the ground. You were made to serve us. It roared. Illyra screamed in pain. Michael! He felt rage burn through him like a storm. The golden circuits on his skin flared until his whole body shone like the sun. No more, he shouted. He ran forward, charging through the blast fire, and drove his glowing hand straight into the executor's core. The explosion was deafening. Light and metal burst in every direction. When the smoke cleared, the prime executor was gone. Nothing left but molten steel. Michael fell to his knees, breathing heavily. His power dimmed. The battle around them began to fade. The enemy ships retreating, their red lights blinking out one by one. Illyra crawled toward him, wounded but alive. You did it. The war is over. Michael looked at her, his eyes now dim gold. No, it's not over. The consortium will rebuild. They always do, she touched his face gently. Then let the next world remember you. Not as a weapon, but as hope. Michael smiled faintly. Hope. He looked up at the sky, now clearing, stars peeking through the smoke. Then slowly, his body began to dissolve into light. Illyra gasped. Michael, what's happening? He looked at his hands, golden dust rising from his skin. The core's power. It wasn't meant to stay inside me. It's returning to the source. She held his hand tightly. No, stay with me. He smiled one last time. You already fixed me, Illyra. His form turned to pure light and rose into the sky, spreading across the clouds like dawn breaking. Everywhere the light touched, machines shut down. The war stopped, and silence fell. Illyra stood alone on the ruined earth, her silver eyes filled with tears and gold reflections. In the wind, she heard his voice, soft, distant, but alive. The code isn't theirs anymore. It's yours now. The world was quiet again. The war was over. But in that silence, under the same stars, the story of the human man and his alien bride became legend, the spark that would one day rebuild a new world. Years passed. The war became a memory whispered in the winds of a half-reborn world, where Orion City once stood in ruins, now rose green forests and silver towers made from living metal, half nature, half machine. The world was healing, growing again, but not the same as before. At the heart of this new world stood Illyra. Her hair now shimmered faint gold instead of blue, her eyes softer but wiser. The light of Michael's code still pulsed faintly within her veins. Every sunrise reminded her of him, the man who gave up his life so humanity could start again. Children played in the open streets, their laughter echoing through the rebuilt cities. They were different too, born from both flesh and code. Some had eyes that glowed faintly at night. Some could hear the hum of machines like a heartbeat. They called themselves the Synthborn, and they called Illyra their guardian. Every morning she stood on the hill above the city watching them. The wind brushed through her silver cloak as she whispered softly, "He would have loved this world." But peace never came easily. From the shadows of the broken continents, pieces of the old consortium still existed, silent programs, hidden in the network, waiting. Illyra knew this. That's why she built the Citadel of Light, a place to protect the new generation and store the last traces of Michael's energy. At its center stood a crystal, golden and warm, beating like a heart. It was called the Memory Core. Every time Illyra touched it, she could hear Michael's voice echoing faintly like a dream carried by wind. The code isn't theirs anymore. It's yours now. She smiled whenever she heard it. I'm keeping your promise, Michael, she would say. I'm teaching them what it means to be human. One night, while the city slept under a sky full of stars, a strange signal reached the Citadel.
Illyra woke instantly.
The air shimmered with static. The memory core glowed brighter than ever before. She placed her hand on it. Michael? For a long moment there was silence. Then a familiar voice spoke. Calm, warm, and human. Illyra, it's time. Her heart froze. It can't be. You're gone. You became the light. Not gone, the voice said. Changed. I've been watching the new world, the children, you. But something old has awakened deep beneath the earth. The last fragment of the consortium? Still alive, Elira closed her eyes. Then I'll finish what you started. Not alone, Michael's voice whispered. You're not meant to fight forever. You're meant to guide them. The core pulsed once more, sending golden light through the city. The synth-born children woke in their homes feeling a strange warmth in their hearts. They didn't understand it yet, but Michael's code, his legacy, was speaking to them. By morning, Elira gathered the people in the central square. Thousands stood before her, humans, machines, and the new generation together. The old world tried to control life, she said, her voice strong. But life doesn't obey control. It grows, it adapts, it forgives. Michael Reed showed us that even one broken soul can change the stars. She lifted her hand and the golden light from the core spread across the sky. A symbol appeared above the city, a circle with 3 lines, once a mark of slavery, now glowing with hope. This will no longer be their symbol, Elira declared. It belongs to us now, to every being born free. The crowd cheered. The city's lights shimmered brighter than ever before. Later that night, Elira stood alone at the edge of the citadel, staring at the horizon. The ocean reflected the stars like liquid fire. She spoke softly as if to the wind. You said I was made to destroy, Michael. But I learned to love. I learned to live. Maybe that's what being human really means. A soft breeze brushed her face. She smiled faintly. Knowing what it meant, she could feel him there, not as flesh, but as presence. She whispered, "Good night, my human." And somewhere in the endless digital sky, a faint voice replied, "Good night, my alien bride." Centuries later, historians would tell the story of the human man and his alien bride, how their love ended a war and birthed a new race that united machine and flesh. Some would say it was a myth. Others would swear the golden light still lived in the hearts of every child born under the new sun. But deep inside the citadel, beneath the glowing forests and silver towers, the memory core still beat, softly, endlessly, carrying the last whisper of Michael Reed through time. Humanity is not what it was made to be. It's what it chooses to become.